What's up, y'all? Um, what's going on here? So yeah, I just posted that question on my story. Sounds like there's a few of you who said answered yes to it. I don't know. It's just been like a weird. It's kind of one of those like funky days, and I watched. I don't know if any of you guys have seen it, but there's like a new Avicii documentary. I watched that this morning, and I don't know if that has something to do with it. That kind of like threw me into a bit of a I don't know. I've been thinking about it all day, which is weird. He was always like a huge fan of that guy's music and just like his story, and it's always been very interesting to me. And watching that was like, yeah, I don't know, something I've been thinking about all day. So I don't know if that had something to do with that, but I have these days like once in a while where it's like I just kind of get in a bit of a funk, and I always ask myself like, I wonder what's happening with the moon, because I don't know how any of that stuff works. Um, I definitely believe in it, just like how it does play an effect on us, and I know that in the past when I've told some people like, oh, I've kind of it was like a weird day, and you know, were you feeling weird? And people have been like, yeah, it was like a full moon that night or something. So I do believe in that stuff. I know that it has affected me, and I do have like these funky days every once in a while. Don't happen quite as often these days as I used to, but I don't know like what days the moon does what or how any of that works, but I do feel like when I get in that funk, the first thing that kind of comes into my head is like, what's the moon up to? Um, I definitely feel like I have a ton. Well, as most of you know, I have a ton of energy. It's just something that's like I just like vibrate. Like it's just like create. Like I've always been like that, where I just think like I can feel it, which is crazy and probably sounds a bit crazy. I probably sound a bit crazy now, but maybe some of you kind of get it. But like just like intense vibrations once in a while. So I know that I just have a lot of energy around me. I always have. I'm also just a very energetic person, as people out there who spend time with me know. Um, so I do feel in a sense that like could have an extra effect, just in terms of me like really kind of getting even a little bit more of reaction of what some people may not notice. The other thing that I feel like is also, I've heard this a few times. I can't remember if it's in podcast or book I read or what, but people who have very high energy levels tend to have, like, almost in a sense, to be an extremist, where you can have these really high highs some days, but the result of that is you're also going to have these really low lows once in a while too. And I do feel like I have that kind of extreme energy where some days, you're just like, when I post on those days when I'm like just ramped up and fired up, and you can see me, I'm in my gym clothes. I probably just had a good workout. Today was a rest day, so it's been super chill. And I've kind of just implemented a new thing where when I do rest days on Sundays, it's like no, I did an open house, but it's like a no work day kind of thing. So I've been kind of like in a really low vibe altogether. So again, that could even have something to do with it as well. Um, but what was I saying? Yeah, so like some of those days you see me when I post those videos, I'm super up and like rocking and rolling, and it's all good. And then I also feel like on the other side of that, or the other side of me in a sense, is like you also have kind of these lows. And that's one of the reasons why I even just wanted to write or post this video, is just to be like, you know what, it's not always like, motivation, crushing it, blah blah blah. There are days where it's just like you're kind of like a little bit more chill, still have these kind of in a funk days. And I think with these funky days, I used to have these all the time. It's a very familiar feeling, something that I've had like probably a good chunk of my life, or at least my teenage to more recent years. and they used to be a lot more intense as well. I don't know what's shifted that, but I do notice like ever since I've kind of been implementing like this whole lifestyle, like, all this lifestyle stuff with the holistic, like mindset training, like mind, body, spirit approach or whatever, this kind of program that I've been running on, where those days are happen quite a bit less. I mean, they're a lot less than they used to, but I still do get them. And they are, it almost seems like even since, when I started the program, they did happen quite a bit less. And then the longer I've been doing the program, the less and less I feel them. But when I do feel them, they're definitely still there. And I think with the program, and then when I kind of do come across those days, it almost feels like it's a sense where, and I'm kind of talking about this in this book that I'm writing, which is, I wish it was done, but it keeps growing and I keep adding other parts, but I hope it is done soon. But I do talk about it in one sense where it's like, as you kind of go to battle with as you go through the rewiring process in your brain, and this might sound crazy because you have no idea what I'm talking about because it's all in the book, and I'm so close to this book right now that I feel like you all know exactly what I'm saying, but you probably have no idea. Or maybe you do. Maybe it's not crazy. But in a sense where it's like, as you go through the process of rewiring your brain and going through this program, as you try to rewire your brain and your brain tries to fight back, that as you're really starting to see progress, it's almost like, the analogy that I want to use is almost like when you catch a fish on a fishing line and it fights, and then towards the end it'll either it gets too tired and then it'll play dead, so then you reel it in and it's pretty easy, but there's always going to be that last final fight, almost out of exhaustion, like, or desperation I should say, where it gives it, really everything it's got at the end. And it feels like that's kind of what's happening, where you go through this process of like change and like rewiring and all this stuff. You can feel that you are beating it and you're winning the battle, but every once in a while these like crazy, like, this fight comes back and it's really intense, and then once you get over it, it's almost like you've even progressed even further. So that's kind of like part of it. Might sound super weird, but I don't know, like, if I know a lot of you like do follow like the moon and that side of the stuff with the energy, and I would be interested to hear if, like, what your take is on that, especially if, like, I don't know how many, 7 or 8 of you like just right away said yes when I asked that question. So I'm just like, and if it does have something, if it is that time of year, then, or time of month or time of week or whatever, however it works, then that's pretty cool that I'm able to almost feel it within myself if that's happening. But if that has nothing to do with it, then not too sure. But anyways, it's kind of cool. Like, I just finished a meditation, so even like that whole aspect of my life where it's like that self-awareness of like 2 years ago or a year ago, like, for me to even have this conversation, I'd be like, what the fuck? So anyways, yeah, energy is a really cool thing. It's something that is really interesting to me. I feel like the whole universe kind of runs on that. So like learning more about it and how it all works, I think is really interesting. But yeah, some food for thought, and that's all I really got. So I'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a good Sunday night, and new week starting tomorrow. Peace.